Guten Tag, my name is DMAD and welcome to a very interesting video. So for this video, I was going to make it 3 parts, kind of similar to how my Colorado and end of year trip was. But after reviewing the footage and seeing that each part was pretty short, plus when I put all the footage together before editing it down, it would still come out shorter than the average Backtrack video, I decided to just make it a 3-in-1, covering all the facilities I went to. So, without further ado, let's see what Branson was like in the spring of 2021. First stop is actually not in Branson, but 56 miles to the southwest. Located in the hills of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, we are at Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. So, this visit was kinda rushed and wasn't entirely meant to be a filming trip, but regardless, let's get into what was Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge like back in the spring of 2021. So right off the bat, like a lot of the other places I've covered, I haven't been back to Turpentine Creek since the spring of 2021. At the time of this visit, we were in the middle of the pandemic, and due to the disease being contagious to cats, Turpentine Creek had to take every precaution necessary. Hence, I'm not sure how many of these measures have been lifted, so I'll only be speaking from my perspective at the time. As always, if you know something I don't, feel free to comment down below. Unlike prior to COVID, rather than pay for admission and walk about the refuge at your leisure, you have to sign up for a timed tour. This takes you through the compound where you see their larger habitats for Bam Bam the grizzly bear, 2 young white tigers, leopards, and their multicolored multi-tiger habitat. As you walk around, not only do you have to wear a mask, but plexiglass barriers were applied to the side of each habitat, just for caution. After the compound, you board the tram for the rest of the tour. This replaced the walking tour where you went down and back up a steep hill. Personally, I like the tram better as it's better for people who would find the trek uphill difficult, as well as it keeps the tours going in a timely manner. Personally, I recommend, if you're a photographer or videographer like me, to sit on the right side of the vehicle, as that's where the majority of the habitats are. As the tour progresses, we learn each cat's story and how they came to the refuge. Some were individual rescues, others came from larger scale operations, but regardless of their origin, Turpentine Creek gives them the best life they can, even keeping pairs who grew up together, including the lion-tiger duo. Something else you see on the ride is their personal animal hospital and Rescue Ridge, a separate compound for older cats or ones that aren't as fond of the crowds. While Turpentine Creek does do virtual tours down there, they used to do smaller, exclusive in-person tours before the pandemic. I don't know if that's returned yet, but I definitely love to do that one day. The tour concludes by looping around the front entrance and past the first few tiger habitats we saw. Afterwards, you are free to walk around the compound before you leave. Prior to the pandemic, the walkthrough area went back further and included their bear tunnel, where you saw their black bears, cougars, bobcats, and more tigers. But during the time of this visit, it was closed. But with that, you now have a better understanding of what Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge was like back in the spring of 2021. These titles are getting very ridiculous. Like I mentioned, I don't know if things have changed since my visit, and I am sorry if I couldn't film more of the facility as I was constrained by time. For our next site, let's get into what was Branson's Promised Land Zoo like back in the spring of 2021. This small zoo is divided between their walkabout area and their drive-through portion. Once you enter, one of the main attractions you are faced with is their parakeet paradise. This building isn't as grand as other zoos, and the birds are literally everywhere, so extra caution should be taken when you're walking around. However, the birds are given branches and space where they can get away from the crowds, and you can also get a chance to feed them. The rest of the main walkthrough area is pretty basic. However, something I forgot to mention is that at admission, you can get a little souvenir cup full of grain balls and feed them to the animals. Here, you get up close and personal to a variety of herbivores, from domestic goats and small horses, to exotic goats like owdads and mouflons, to kangaroos, muntjac deer, maras, and more. We then went on a small trek to the other end of the zoo. There, we saw hyenas, a multi-herbivore pen with wildebeest, blackbuck, emus, and more, the giraffe feeding deck, and this. The Animal Adventures building showcases the park's smallest members and animal ambassadors, from squirrel monkeys and tegus to small button quail and ball pythons. Now for the big part of the zoo. While the Promised Land Zoo's walkthrough section is nice, the drive-through portion allows you to see much larger animals from the comfort of your own vehicle. However, even though a lot of the habitats are large and hilled, giving drivers more viewing, they are built into the Missouri woods, and it may be difficult to spot or photograph the animals. Here, you see large animals, from deer and zebras, to yaks and bison, to the critically endangered addax and the unusual nilgai. Finally, once you've made your lap around, you can cruise on out and off to our last destination. Located 5 minutes to the southeast is Branson's Wild World. Like the other sites, I haven't returned here yet, but I do hope to soon. Especially since the time of my last visit, Wild World has expanded out the back door with their Wild Valley outdoor portion. However, that is a story for another day. For now, let's get into what was Branson's Wild World like back in the spring of 2021. Despite looking relatively small from the outside, Branson's Wild World houses hundreds of animals. It specializes primarily in reptiles and aquariums, housing anything from small snakes and crustaceans to crocs and sharks. Wild World also offers numerous experiences throughout your visit, such as touch tanks, feedings, and animal encounters. One field I personally think the facility falls short on is with their mammals. While some, like the maras and wolves, have pretty spacious habitats, others, like the cougars and coatis, seem kinda small. One of my favorite aspects of Wild World is the theming of a lot of their aquariums. From ancient temples to dino fossils, the designers definitely got creative and deliver something that appeals to all ages. While all this seems like a lot, in addition to Wild Valley, there are some aspects I wasn't able to cover, but certainly would like to add to my next experience. But with all that covered, you now know what Turpentine Creek, Promised Land Zoo, and Wild World were all like back in the spring of 2021. In addition to needing to return to these facilities to see how they're doing nowadays, there are other places in Branson that I wasn't able to visit. But that's just all the more reason I need to make a return trip down there. Probably when it warms up though. But with that, I think we're done here. Have you ever been to any of these facilities? And do you have any recommendations to other places I need to visit? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you all enjoyed this video and will consider liking and subscribing to the channel, as well as following us on our other social media platforms. And share this video out to anyone who loves big cat sanctuaries, drive-through zoos, creatively designed aquariums, or just zoos and animals in general. I thank you all for watching, and remember, always be prepared, do good daily, and love nature. For your life is a canvas, and you have the brush. Auf Wiedersehen!